Woke up this morning with a gun to my head. Somebody help me, she wants me dead. Woke up this morning with the devil in my bed. In the air, everywhere, in my veins and in my head. She won't be dead, 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 dead. She won't be dead, 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 dead. She won't be dead, 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 dead. She won't be dead, 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 dead. She won't be dead, 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 dead. She won't be dead, 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 dead. She won't be dead, 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 dead. She won't be dead, 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 dead. She won't be dead, 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 dead. She won't be dead, 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 dead. She won't be dead, 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 dead. Well. Woke up this morning with a gun to my head. Brother should have told me she will be dead. Without a warning, not a clue, without a sound. In your house, out of bounds, you can run but you can't hide. She won't be dead, 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 dead. She won't be dead, 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 dead. She won't be dead, 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 dead. She won't be dead, 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 dead. She won't be dead, 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 dead. Well. Somebody save your soul, cause you've been sinning in the city. I know too many troubles, all these lovers got you losing control. You like a drug to me, a luxury, my sugar and gold. I want the good life every good night, you're a hot one to hold. Cause you don't even know, I can make your hands clap. Said I can make your hands clap. Somebody save your soul, cause you've been sinning in the city. I know too many troubles, all these lovers got you losing control. You like a drug to me, a luxury, my sugar and gold. I want your sex and your affection when they're holding you close. Cause you don't even know, I can make your hands clap. Said I can make your hands clap. Every night when the stars come out, am I the only living soul around? Need to believe you could hold me down, cause I'm in need of something good right now. We could be screaming till the sun comes out, and when we wake we'd be the only sound. Get on my knees and say your friend change round. That I can make your hands clap. That I can make your hands clap. That I can make your hands clap. My flesh is searching for your worst and best, don't ever deny. I'm like a stranger, give me danger, all you're holding you right. Secrets on Broadway to the freeway, you're a keeper of crabs. Feel no conviction, grapes of wrath can only sweeten your wine. But you don't even know, I can make your hands clap. Said I can make your hands clap. Every night when the stars come out, am I the only living soul around? Need to believe you could hold me down, cause I'm in need of something good right now. We could be screaming till the sun comes out, and when we wake we'd be the only sound. Get on my knees and say your friend change round. That I can make your hands clap. 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 So can I get a hand clap?
You know who it is, come around again. You want a dose of this, right now it's KD8. I'm gonna spin a blaze, 소리처럼 내 이름 잊지 못하게 loud 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 loud. I could take you to the top, 절대 멈추지 못해. 내가 끝내주는 bag yeah. And when I start to talk that oh you know how to react. I'm a picture perfect face with the wild in my veins. You can hear it in my growl. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. 다 할 수 없는 래퍼. 나와 되길 원한 늘 확신해.
Hey everyone, welcome to the match. I am JRT, and tonight we have Collateral facing off against Big Frames. So two of the top 5 teams going at it here. Big Frames currently sits at number 4 in the standings, but if they win here tonight, they'll go to 10-1 and jump to the number 2 seed. As for Collateral, they're currently holding number 2 seed, and they need to win to hold on to it, of course, but they've already secured a playoff spot. I think Big Frames needs one more win to get to that point. I'm not sure if 9 wins will be enough to make the playoffs this season in advance. I think for the first time last season in advanced existence, 9 wins was not enough to get into the playoffs. You needed 10. We'll see if that's repeated again in Season 31. But Collateral coming off a victory against Dogs of War, 16-14 in that one. Whoa, camera's going crazy here on stream and on screen. That was a tightly contested match at 16-14 against Dogs of War, who were playing 5v4 for what was it, the last 13 rounds, and they actually won 7 of those rounds, which was pretty impressive. And they made it 16-14, but Collateral held on. It was really a Herculean effort by the Dogs of War members, and I think we have a server switch, if I'm not mistaken here. Whoop-a-doo. So let's see while we sort this out here, guys. But in the meantime, Collateral seems to have settled on a roster of Sergeant, Hash, Hendy, Delta 9, Jax, and Dutchbag, who they played with over the last 4 matches. But Witcher is still very capable, can be slotted in at any time, and will fit in pretty seamlessly with the other 4, or whoever the other 4 might be in that instance. Now, Dust 2 was played once before this season, and it was a victory of 16-7 against Lean Cuisine, but the match was overturned completely, and those 7 rounds turned into 0, and it turned to be 16-0 in favor of Collateral because reloads on Lean Cuisine was caught sharing accounts. Not good. So that, I think the whole roster kind of just disappeared after that point, and they ceased to exist. But let's check out what's going on here. I believe there's a new GoTV being assigned, guys, so I'm just checking that out now. Not sure if the new one is up yet, but I will double check here. It looks like it is, so let's try connecting to it, and hopefully it works. It does. Yay! All right, we'll be back into it in just a moment, guys. I think there was a ping issue on that one. But yeah, Big Frames are coming into this one 9-1. They started the season 7-0 and then lost a surprising match against, what was it, Drawn to Fulfillment. And they're at 7-4 or 7-5 on the season, so not a team that you would expect to beat a powerhouse like Big Frames, but they did. And then, of course, the match after that, Big Frames go ahead and hand the first loss of the season to Livid. So, you know, that's pretty much how it goes down. You lose to a team that you're really not expected to lose to, then you go up against the powerhouse, another powerhouse in advanced, and you beat them. So it looks like everyone's back into the server on Dust 2 here. Now, it's been the same starting 5 all season long for Big Frames. They've had Welshie, Dev, Nerfed, Church, and Loner. Loner, the only new addition to the squad, replacing T. Connors, who's now on the bench. But the bench on Big Frames is pretty ridiculous. You have T. Connors, then you have Reality, and also JMO. Now, JMO has 2 seasons played in MDL, played 5 matches in MDL for Front GG or Thunder Logic this season, and the Reality also played 11 matches with GGPR in advance. So these guys are very capable of coming in and helping out when needed, which could be useful in the playoffs. We'll see if that is indeed the case. The knife round is over. Looks like Collateral will be on CT side and Big Frames on T side. Here we go. Collateral trying to get their win streak to 11 matches in a row. And Big Frames did jump onto a 2-game win streak after losing 2 drawn to Fulfillment. And they're looking to make it 3. Here we go. Round number 1. And as you guys may very well know, Dust 2 is a frag fest. Nerfed, along with Church, going to go in here towards long. In fact, everyone for Big Frames charging in. There's the first 2 frags right off the bat. Hendy and Delta 9 go down. And Nerfed is trying to come in and get a 3rd one. There it is on the run. Gets jaxed with the USPS. 5v2. Dutchbag trying to find a response, but nothing doing as of yet. And the frags seem to be going entirely in Big Frames' favor. Bomb going to get planted here. Post plant 5v2. No reason for Sergeant Hash and Dutchbag not to try something. You can still get it done with the USPSs, even in a 2v5. Dev coming around the corner. The top frag looking for some action. Hash gets domed down to 0 now, and Church, gets the last frag over on Sergeant Hash. 1-0 in favor of Big Frames, heading into round number 2. Now, over the last 3 matches, Collateral victorious against Brazen, the number 17 seed, 16-12 on Overpass. Then against E-Girl Hunters, another victory, number 24, or the 24th in the standings on Vertigo. And then defeated Dogs of War, who are number 25 in the standings on Train, 16-14. Sergeant Hash was the top frag in 2 of those matches, and actually has been quite good over the last 3. 78 frags, 1.21 KDR, 92.4 ADR, and a plus 12 kill to death differential. Looks like Collateral are forcing up 4 scouts here and the Deagle. I mean, Dust is one of those maps where sniper rifles can be used on pretty much every area, either mid, long, or B, so it's not necessarily a bad decision. And you still have Hendy with that Deagle in hand. Now, Dev, as was the case in Season 30, is a beast again in Season 31. He finished Season 30 as Hendy gets a nice little frag there over on Welshie, and looks like Big Frames are going to try and come in towards the B side. There's Loner trading one back against Sergeant Hash. Dutchbag waiting around the corner, but his gun was showing, and Nerf comes around the corner, flying with the Mag-10. They drop him to the ground. Nerf gets a second one on Hendy, but Delta 9 gets the scout headshot. So, 3v2, and Dev is down to 56 HP. Bomb going to get planted 4 tunnels. Dev staring up at window. Delta 9 and Jax, yeah, I think they want to save these scouts. Not a bad idea, since they will be saving more than likely in the next round due to the fact that they forced up here. So Big Frames will take the 2-0 lead, and we can talk a little bit more about Dev. So Dev last season plus 104 in the top 5 in advanced in kill to death differential. 347 frags, 21.7 frags per match, a KDR of 1.43, and it gets better, an ADR of 92.4. This season, not much different. 212 frags, plus 74 kill to death differential, 23.6 frags per match, a 1.54 KDR, and an ADR of 94.5, along with 18 3-kill plus rounds with an ace mixed in there. So essentially, Dev is on pace for, in fact, maybe a little bit better than he was at the end of last season. Big Frames up 2-0. Third round of play, but he's certainly the one to watch. Over the last 3 matches, he was only the top frag once at 24 and 10, but still had the most frags of anyone over the last 3 with 68 and a plus 18 kill to death differential. Top ADR player over the last 3 is Dev at 85, and flash assists go to Loner at 3, and enemy flash time is averaging at 69.7 again for Loner. So Loner, the flash specialist here for Big Frames. Dev getting the molly ready, and a smoke flies on over. That's for Cat. Here comes Church and Welshie dropping 2, but Hendy doing the work with the deal, gets 2, maybe even a third over on Church, but cannot frag him. Dev gets the trade in, 3v2 man advantage, but at least 2 members forced to buy up here on Big Frames. That's Welshie and Loner. Good work by Hendy. Dutchbag, the last one standing in a 3v1 P250, no body armor, no utility. Just has to hope that his aim is enough to get one more frag potentially in the round. That one could come against Nerfed, who's waiting here guarding long, but he is staring right towards those long doors. Bomb taken away. Dutchbag thinking about making a move. Church throws that flashbang in towards CT, and I think Dutchbag just going to wait until time expires and the bomb explodes for perhaps his best chance of coming out of this one with some damage done against Big Frames. Dutchbag, a little early, comes out, Nerfed waiting, and Nerfed gets the headshot on him. 2K for Nerfed in the round, 3-0 in favor of Big Frames. Round number 4 now underway. Over the last 3 matches, Collateral has, of course, won all 3 of them. And Delta 9, 55 frags, plus 8 kill to death differential, 1.17 KDR, and an ADR of 72.5. But his most impressive stats are, of course, flashes, 4 flash assists, and 64 seconds of average enemy flash time. So it's Loner up against Delta 9 in terms of flashes. And Dev against Sergeant Hash for the frags. Nerf going to get a frag over on Jax. Welshie drops Dutch Bag. So on the buy up here for Collateral, not going so well as the B site has again been taken over by Big Frames. Dev going to get the bomb planted here. Now we have a 3v5 post plant. Handy, Delta 9, and Sergeant Hash have to be thinking about going for the 3-man save, given that B site is covered from every single angle. And indeed, Collateral opting to bring these guns into the next round. I think that's the right play. Handy has the smoke as well. And Big Frames. Ooh, Delta 9 manages to pick one off. That's Welshie trying to come out of the B site. Dev is hunting, looking for some action. Now Delta 9 wisely backs off towards Long A. Dev thinking about charging down and chasing them down. But he's being very cautious going into these lower tunnels, maybe expecting someone to be there since they weren't really cleared out for a while. Anyway, Big Frames get a 4th round victory, 4-0 in their favor. Type 3 for me, guys. No, I'm just kidding. That's awesome. Thank you, Apex and Atlantis. Hey, Atlantis, how's it going? And Apex. And Acid Rain. Good to see you guys. Flashbang gonna get thrown in towards mid. Well, she gets sprayed down from mid to 38. Sergeant Hash takes a bit of damage as well, but he backs off a little bit better off than Welshie. About 13 HP more. Molly gonna get thrown here by Big Frames up Cat, and doing a pretty good job on their T side on a map that's very evenly balanced between CTs and Ts. A map that's been played for many, many years. I would even say decades. If Counter-Strike were 20 years old, but it's not yet. Delta 9 through the smoke gets Welshie. Church coming around the corner. Church gets the headshot over on Delta 9. 4v4 evened out. Hendy waiting for some action. Could get a couple, but no, none. Dev goes down to 2 HP, and Hendy's vision is given away. Now Big's coming around the corner. Actually, Church coming around the corner, and he goes down to 76. Jax has a nice little flank over on Nerf, then drops in with the UMP-45. 4v3, Dev with 2 HP, Church with 76, and wow, Loner misses an easy shot, then makes up for it on Sergeant Hash, but could have had 2 there. Dev drops Dutch Bag, but now it's down to Church and Loner up against Jax and Hendy. Jax coming around, Loner flicks to his head, and Church gets the last one over on Hendy. Church and Loner doing all the damage, and you have to wonder if that AUG over on ramp had a few more shots connected. Perhaps this would have been a different round, but instead, Big Frame still undefeated so far, 5-0 in their favor. Over the last 3 for Big Frames. Defeating Ethereal, 16-11 on Nuke, and defeating Livid, as mentioned, 16-11 on Nuke as well. But the first Nuke in that 3-match series was up against John Fulfillment, as mentioned, a loss. Welshie coming out there, getting Delta 9 with the headshot, 5v4 quickly here for Big Frames. Just a half buy for Collateral coming in, and this could be a bit more damage. No, the nade misses, connecting on Hendy. Molly gonna get thrown up towards Cat. Dev's engaging very aggressively here in towards CT and making it work. There's Sergeant Hash and Dutch Bag down. Look at the confidence on Dev. And can you blame him? He's a frag monster. Jax and Hendy, the last 2 standing here. Nerf going to make it only Jax. Jax does get the headshot over on Dev, so Dev finally falls to the ground here. And Jax could have an AK to pick up, but I do believe that Big Frames want to prevent that from happening. You see Church coming around here, guarding the AK from Jax. And Jax just waiting around the corner for perhaps someone to come and greet him. Well, she could be that someone. Jax waiting patiently. Gonna fire away, gets that frag on Welshie, goes for the AK and finds it as well. That is big here for Collateral, getting an AK into this next round. That helps their economy immensely and will lead to a much stronger buy. Full utility, no questions asked. 3 AUGs, an AK, and an AWP for Collateral over on Big Frames. 4 AKs and the AWP. Let's see if that AK makes a difference here in round number 7. It already has economy-wise. Perhaps some frags will come at the hands of Jax on the B side. Dutchbag goes down immediately as Nerf comes around the corner from mid. Wasn't really covered by Collateral. Now Jax gets one, then a second. The AK doing work on 3K. Dev, the last one standing on the B site, and Jax gets him as well. Quad. Now Loner's going to try and recover here and maybe make something out of this round. But what did I tell you guys? That AK is not only the difference maker here with the 4K, but Jax caps it off with a headshot from the Deagle to get the ace on the round. The first ace of the season for Collateral, and their first victory on Dust 2 in a round here against Big Frames, 6-1 in Big Frames' favor. But Collateral have a round to build off of now. Smoke going to get thrown in towards mid. 4 AKs in the op for Big Frames. Over on Collateral, it's 2 AUGs, an M4, and a double op setup. Jax favoring the op here as he's going to get the HE frag over on Church, and Jax has 6 frags over the last 2 rounds, and it's not over yet here in this second one for him. Dutchbag waiting over on the B site, throws the smoke in. And the tunnels have been double smoked off. 1:19 on the clock. Jax on the season leads the team in terms of frags at 238, and he's the only player who's played in every single match as Hendy is going to get nerfed. Now Delta 9 waiting on ramp, trying to support Hendy on this. Actually, no, it's not Hendy. It is Sergeant Hash on the A site. Sergeant Hash goes down, but Delta 9 and Sergeant Hash get a couple of frags, leaving only Loner standing with Loner with 2 HP. Gets a second one, is trying to clutch it here with a full-on ace, but cannot do it. Hendy drops him to the ground before he can do more damage, and Collateral on a 2-round run now, 6-2. In favor of Big Frames, but you see the economy is starting to catch up to Big Frames a little bit. You have Nerfed at AK and Church at AK, so they'll be able to buy up here. If they lose one more, could be a little strapped for cash with the loss bonus only coming in at 2,400 in the next round. Dutchbag gets the quick molly thrown in towards the B site, and Sergeant Hash farming the frags over at Long A. A 3K for him, capped off with a molly frag, burning Nerfed to a crisp. Loner is going to hang back over at Double Doors at Long A, and Welshie's peeking around to see what's going on at mid. Sergeant Hash gets a smoke, and there are tons of utility being burned away by Collateral and forcing Loner to hang back. 2v5 thanks to Sergeant Hash. Delta 9 engaging with Welshie, who's managed to sneak his way up to L. Welshie still surviving there. Sergeant Hash is firing away at Loner. Back and forth here. Big Frames trying to pinch in over at Long A, but Jax is going to prevent that from happening, leaving only Loner standing. And given that he only has 250 in the bank, along with Welshie being the only one above 1K in the round, he's going to try and save it. No! Dutchbag around the corner, pops a couple of shots right to his dome, and Loner drops to the ground. 6-3 in favor of Big Frames, heading into round number 10 now. 3 AKs, an AUG, and an op for Collateral. Over on Big Frames, well, they're going to have to go for a half buy or maybe no buy at all. You have 2 Glocks. No, actually, they're all going to get pistols in hand. 3 Deagles, a P250, and a Scout for Big Frames. Over on Collateral, I already summed that up. 3 AKs, though, picked up off the ground here against Big Frames over these last 3 rounds. And because not many Collateral members have fallen over that span, they have a good economy built up. Delta 9 priming the HE, throws that into lower tunnels, and he will get Loner. Good combo there. 1-2 punch from Hendy and Delta 9 with the HEs, and they get Loner as a result. Church picks up the bomb, and he's going to try and go into that B site with his teammates who only have a couple of flashes to make this work. Dev coming now in towards lower tunnels, and Welshie's hunting around Long A. Now 3 Collateral members are actually stacked towards, well, 1 in CT and 2 over at Cat. Very aggressive position held by Delta 9 with that op, especially on a pistol save round where those pistols can dome you from close range pretty quickly. But he does get that frag there to make it 2 on the round. Church and Nerf trying to come out, but both of them go down to Jax's spray down. Welshie does get one on Hendy, but he's in a 4v1 with only a Scout in hand. 30 seconds left. Picks up the AK off the ground and will engage with Sergeant Hash shortly. Sergeant Hash hunting him down and will get him through the wall. Well, she is down. Big Frames have lost 4 in a row here, and Collateral have cut a 6-round lead into 2. Collateral fighting for that #1 seeding, and so is Big Frames. If Collateral win this one, they will leapfrog over Livid temporarily, since Livid has only lost 1 match. They're sitting at 10-1. Collateral would be at 11-2. So if Livid continue to win on here in this season, they still will be able to secure the #1 seed, since they're the only team, aside from Big Frames, to my knowledge, at 1 loss. Sergeant Hash waiting in CT here. Gets that molly thrown for Cat, and then backs right down into CT once more. Delta 9. Priming the smoke, will be re-smoking long doors. And Sergeant Hash will fall back to his position over at the A site. 1:10 on the clock here, round number 11 of the first half of action. Molly flying right over the head of Dutchbag there at the B site. Jack sprays down Church, trying to come into the B site from mid. Well, she peeks around window, drops Dutchbag, so now it's only Jack's left, and Nerfed gets him down to the ground. I think everyone doing damage for Big Frames in that round on the entry into B. Dev, wow, what a sneaky position there, waiting right next to window on the scaffolding. And Welshie tries to spray through that door. In the meantime, though, Nerfed is going to get handy, and Dev gets the last one. 2K for Dev over on Delta 9. 7-4 for Big Frames, who finally end the round run at 4 for Collateral. Checking out that scoreboard, it's Jax at the top, largely in part thanks to his ace. 13-5 in second. Delta 9 at 6-6, and third, Handy at 6-7. Over on Big Frames, Nerfed at the top, 12-6. Then it's Dev 6-6, and Welshie 6-9. But Dev, would not surprise me to see him get his game going here on a map that favors fraggers very heavily. Church. Is that flashbang thrown off the window? Really easy pop flash to throw, but an important one, of course, for Cat as you're entering on T side. Dev. Firing away in through the double doors here at long A. Just trying to make some noise and force some utility out by Collateral, and that's exactly what happened. So there's another smoke burned away by Collateral, who have 2 left, along with 4 flashbangs, 2 HEs, and 2 mollies. Here comes an execute onto the B site by Big Frames, trying to set up a wall of smokes from Cat in towards the A site. Sergeant Hash isn't really blinded that badly, comes around the corner, gets one over on Welshie, could farm a few frags away here. Church won't go down. He gets him to 2 HP. Loner saves Church's life for all intents and purposes with that frag, then gets a second on Delta 9. 4v3, Handy responds on Nerfed, 3v3 now. Church very lit, 202 HP combined for Big Frames and 246 for Collateral. Church getting that flashbang ready, throws it for long A, so Handy's blinded. What a follow-up by Dev as well. Nerfed gets the flash assist, and Dev with a great peek towards long to take advantage of it. Now Dev waiting, staring down over towards CT, but will get dropped by Dutchbag. 2v2, and Church and Loner are extremely lit. Bomb taken away. Someone's going to have to stick that here, and it's probably going to be Dutchbag. It is. Dutchbag's going to try to get it with the smoke, but does not do it. Loner with the 4K on the round caps it off, and Big Frames somehow find a way to squeak out of that round with a victory. 8-4 in their favor. 4-round lead has been restored. Big Frames with that 8th victory, also securing the first half in terms of rounds 1. Now it's up to Collateral to respond here on another full-on buy round with 4 M4s and an M4A1, as they don't have full utility though. Sergeant Hash using the last of his with the HE thrown in there towards double doors at long. And Delta 9 empty as well. Still have 3 smokes, 3 flashes, and 2 HEs, but there go all the smokes. 1 for doors over at B and 1 for tunnels at B as well. Now it's Big Frames' turn. Here they come. 4 of them down in towards long. They make it all 5 charging forward. Handy hears some footsteps, throws the flashbang in response to that, but I'm not sure if it's going to blind anyone. Molly thrown for Car, and it's a good one. No one there for Collateral though. Here come Big Frames. Charging up. Great smokes thrown. No gaps in them. And Welshie's going to come in and frag Jax through that smoke. 5v4. Dev gets Hendy. Now it's going to be a 5v2 with Dev dropping the 2K. Loner responds as well, getting Delta 9, leaving only Dutchbag standing, and it's a clean sweep here for Big Frames. 5v none, Big Frames 9, Collateral 4, with only 2 rounds left to be played here in the first half of action. Now, this Big Frame squad has been through a lot of up and downs, not to mention a 4-16, make it 4-15 MDL season. Church, Dev, and Nerfed all played on that squad. I think Nerfed left after 5 matches. But regardless, they were all on a squad that, you know, you never want to go 4-15 in any season. And usually teams that go down by that record don't tend to play together after that and completely part ways. But they stuck together, and they've done so over the last 2 seasons, and it's really paid off for them. 10-6 last season, went 1-1 in the playoffs as Church gets a headshot over on Sergeant Hash on Collateral's pistol buy-up. Nerf gets Dutchbag, and now Church almost gets a second for himself. Will find it on Jax, looking for the 3K, but Delta 9 doing the work with the USPS. It's not going to be enough, but still, at least 2 guns out of the hands here of Big Frames for the 15th and final round of play. I don't think it makes much of a difference, though, given the economy. 10-4 for Big Frames, who have already found their way into double-digit round victory territory. And we're in the 15th and final round of play here of the first half. But yeah, no, to me, the fact that only 2 players have changed on the Big Frames roster over the last 3-4 seasons is pretty impressive. Here come the autos for Big Frames, and they get Dutchbag and Colat. Jax down to 47 and 67 HP. I think they were hoping for some frags with that strat, but they just bought up the autos so they had the money, went for the spam, and picked up the AKs. Dutchbag waiting here, almost lines 2 up, but Church gets him down to the ground, and the B side is again pretty exposed here. Jack's going for a very aggressive play through the smoke, and it doesn't pan out at all. Nerfed spamming it, gets the headshot with the AK, and now it's Delta 9 responding for 1 on Collateral, but still a man advantage for Big Frames. Dev could make it a 2-man advantage and does. Hendy goes down 4v2 now. Sergeant Hash and Delta 9, an AUG and an AWP amongst them. The only chance for victory here in round 15. Hash comes around the corner, flying, gets 1, trying to spray down Dev as well. Dev is down to 75, pops a few shots through the wall, connects on Delta 9. Sergeant Hash closing the gap, but runs out of bullets. Has to reload. Time is ticking away for them here. They're trying to charge up into the B site. Delta 9 will be going in. Was that a no-scope? Then a second with the up on Loner. Delta 9 almost did it all by his lonesome, but Dev closes the door on Collateral in the round. 15 rounds have expired, and Big Frames come out of it with an 11-4 lead on Collateral. They're trying to secure a playoff spot with a 10th victory on the season, and Collateral's 10-game win streak appears to be at risk. Guys, I am JRT. Hope you're enjoying the cast so far. If you are, I would appreciate a follow at JRTTV with 2 E's at the end on my Twitter. And of course, JRTTV without the 2 E's at the end on my Twitch. Would appreciate any and all support. We'll be posting a top 5 highlight reel on my Twitter after the match has ended. But here we go, a second half of action. Collateral up against Big Frames. Collateral have to overcome this 7-round deficit, and it could all start here with a pistol round victory. Big Frames appear to be favoring Cat here. 3 members stacked up, so Long A is entirely exposed. I'm thinking Loner is hoping that he'll hear something to trigger a rotate back to the A site, and I think that's exactly what he was hoping to hear. There are 3 smokes being thrown, and a great molly. That molly is so useful. Over from Long A into Cat. Loner cannot move, and this gives Collateral a lot of time to set up their positioning over on the A site. Church from the flank gets 1 on Jax, looking for the second, and Hendy is down. What great work by Church here on the pistol round for his squad. Sergeant Hash finally gets 1 here over on Loner, but Church and Nerfed are charging up with heads full of steam. Well, she gets 1, Nerfed gets a second, and Dev gets the last one. Collateral, regardless of a great execute in towards that A site, get overwhelmed by the fragging power of Church, Welshie, and Nerfed. Well, along with Dev, of course, who got 1. Big Frames get a 12th round victory, and they're 4 rounds away from securing this one here on Dust 2. So over the last 2 seasons, Collateral has played Dust 2 twice in Season 30 They played it against X Zone in the playoffs, the only time they played it. Lost that one 16-9. And they played against Lean Cuisine, won that one 16-7, but the match was overturned, as mentioned earlier, and ended up being 16-0 for Collateral. So more rounds for their round differential, which can be important if they're tied up with a squad come the end of the season, in terms of seeding anyway. Welshie has the MP9 ready here at the B site, and Big Frames trying to continue their winning ways. 6 in a row for them going back to that first half. Delta 9 gets clipped down to 97 HP from that HE, and then a smoke thrown by Big Frames in towards the B tunnels. The bomb is waiting there, 1:05 on the clock. It looks like Collateral are making a move. Nerf spots it out, gets Delta 9, then Handy looking for the third, and there's the 3K on the anti-eco for Nerfed, leaving only Dutchbag and Jack standing. Bomb is down. Big Frame's going to full-on rotate more than likely into this B site. Nerf gets the quad. Now only Dutchbag standing, who's already snuck his way up from Cat. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the bomb on his back with only 39 seconds left. He's going to have to move a little more quickly. Dev is waiting there. He gets the last one, but it's the 4K for Nerfed here on the anti-eco that makes a difference. 13-4 for Big Frames, and that chance by Collateral going for those deagles and fully buying up instead of saving here for round number 3. Perhaps not necessarily the best of decisions, but they can still make this one work, favoring 3 P250s, a Deagle, and a Glock. No utility, no armor. So we're likely going to see a full-on push to one direction or another. That is going to be towards Cat. But they still have Loner to deal with. That's actually a pretty good engagement for the pistols. The Scout can only fire, of course, one shot at a time, and if you miss, well, you're going to get overloaded by the pistols. Loner pulls out the 5.7, but it's not enough. Jax gets him. Sergeant Hash firing away. Dutchbag drops Nerf. Now Welshie gets a response, but I think Collateral has the momentum. Jax going to get Dev. Jax also gets Church. And Handy drops Welshie. That's a nice execute there by Collateral, making the pistols work. And they got a little lucky that it was only a Scout waiting there at ramp instead of an AUG or perhaps an M4. 13-5 for Big Frames. 18 rounds have expired. 19th round of play. And Big Frames going to go for the half buy, which isn't too shabby here. 2 Deagles, a 5.7, a Scout, and a UMP-45, but the Scout is dropped right to the ground right off the bat here. Delta 9 with the op down mid gets that in the first 10 seconds. Jax gets that molly thrown in towards mid, burns away at double doors, and Sergeant Hash peeking around to try and get an angle on anyone that might be guarding mid, but their mid player's already down. Big Frame stacked up 2 members over at Cat. There's 1 frag for Church. Collateral. Jax responds for 1, but Big Church is going to get the 2K. Throws the smoke as well. And now Collateral in a 3v3. A couple of guns on the ground here. 4 Big Frames to try and pick up. I'm surprised to see Church not trying to get one. Handy gets nerfed, so the B site is pretty much cleared out here with Loner hanging around mid. Church comes around the corner, gets a 3K, but Dutchbag from the grave burns him to a crisp. 2v1. Now it's up to Loner in the 1v2 against Handy and Delta 9. AK up against an AK and an op. No one really watching tunnels here. That's going to change very shortly. Yep, Handy and Delta 9 both peeking around there. But Delta 9 is locked in with the op. This should be an easy frag for him with Loner going slowly. Loner, though, jiggle, peeking, survives, and gets the headshot over on Delta 9. What a shot that is, too. Now it's up to Handy in the 1v1. Loner has the edge, sprays him down to 22. Loner, 1v1, 74 HP, pulls up the deagle, knowing he connected on a few shots, and Handy is down. What a play by Loner in the 1v2. Gets the job done with a nice little spray down from the AK and the jiggle peeking at the beginning of it. Made it work as well. 14-5 against Collateral here. A 9-round lead for Big Frames. So right after a round that you'd think would have turned things around for Collateral, Big Frames shut them down thanks to a great individual effort by Loner. But Collateral still will be able to buy up thanks to the bomb plant, adding $800 to their bank account. They're trying to charge out here and go in towards the A site, but Sergeant Hash got knifed by his teammate there. Church drops Delta 9. Hendy gets the headshot over on Church, and Sergeant Hash trying to respond and help his team out. But Loner gets a second. 4v3. Loner backing off, going for the fadeaway op shot potentially, but just going to boost himself back onto the A site. Well played by Big Frames here. A little bit of aggression towards long A. Got the frags, backed off, and now Jax is down as well. Dutchbag will drop one before Dev caps it off. A 3K on the round for him. 15-5 for Big Frames, and count it, 10 match points for them. Checking out the scoreboard here. Dev, 18 frags, Nerfed with 20. And Loner at 14. Over on Collateral, it's 18 for Jax, 13 for Delta 9, and 10 for Handy. But Dutchbag and Sergeant Hash, who are usually very good fraggers, are struggling here on Dust 2. Only 8 for Sergeant Hash and 5 for Dutchbag. This is a Sergeant Hash that has 201 frags in 9 matches, and Dutchbag with 206 in 10. So just an off match for them. But gotta give Big Frames credit here. Winning those duels and doing the better job of finding the trades. In the chat, Slinky says comeback right here. Well, we'll see. Still possible. Until that final round is on the board for Big Frames. Nerfed, waiting on the B side, gets Delta 9, looking for a second, perhaps on Handy. Cannot find him. Sergeant Hash and Dutchbag creep in from window and drop Nerfed and Welshie. Nice move by Collateral, exposing Big Frames, perhaps their weakness, over around mid. And now Big Frames going to try and go for the full-on retake at B. No reason. Well, actually, there is a reason not to. Their economy is not too great. Might want to hold back and save the 2 Augs in the op, but given that they have a 10-round lead, they could take this risk. But as you can see, Church, Dev, and Loner all backing off here. Dev was just waiting over at top mid, and they don't want to throw these guns away because in Counter-Strike, a 10-round lead can quickly disappear. So, Collateral will get their 6th round victory, their second one on the half, and Big Frames' lead falls to 15-6. Still a tall hill to climb here for Collateral. Delta 9, who's having a pretty strong season for himself, actually took most of the last season off, playing only 2 matches for X Zone, and focused more on school than anything else, which I don't think was necessarily a bad decision on his part. Wanted to make sure he was good to go. But now with summer looming, he decided to get going here in Season 31, and I think that Big Frames are thankful for it. Veteran leader in Delta 9. Second advanced season for him as well. Loner going to frag Delta 9 right off the bat here. 5v4 Collateral short-handed early on. Dutchbag peeking around mid. HE flies in but does not connect. Actually, that was a molly who does not connect here on Collateral. They're just going to wait it out. But look at the positioning by Big Frames, using that molly to get an aggressive spot. Upcat, Church gets the 2K. That is so smart. Knowing that Collateral will be hiding around the corner, they push up 3 members to go for that aggression and the aggressive play and get those frags. 3v2, Sergeant Hash and Hendy, the last 2 members standing, and the last hope for Collateral in this match. 148 HP combined. Over on Big Frames, it's at about 230, I believe. But Hendy's going to come up from Cat here. 40 seconds left. It is the right play. Big Frames only have Def here, but he's the top frag for them and could do this pretty quickly. Doesn't hit the shot on Hendy. Molly comes in, forcing Dev off the site, and that's exactly what Collateral wanted. Sergeant Hash was waiting over at ramp. Hendy gets Welshie. Now a 2v1. Could not have been executed better there by Collateral, given the utility that they had in hand. A little bit of a gap in the smoke, and ooh, the timing there. Nerfed. Had he stayed scoped in, would have spotted out Sergeant Hash, but instead decides to go up Cat and try to make the play there instead. Sergeant Hash waiting at ramp, and the bomb planted for long. Well, not actually. It was planted Planted safe here. I'm not sure why Hendy decided to go towards long, but it doesn't matter. Sergeant Hash gets the frag over on Nerfed, and Collateral are still in this one. 7 rounds for them, 15-7 in favor of Big Frames. In the chat, aka DASP says, come on, let's go. So does Xer FN, and Trace FN says, let's go Collateral. So a lot of Collateral fans in the chat, of course, as you would expect, since we're on the Collateral Twitch here tonight. Sergeant Hash coming out with the AK up against 4 P250s and a 5.7 on Big Frame's end. Now, Nerfed and Church do have the armor. So if they get an opening frag here, maybe over at the B site, which they're stacking, could give themselves a much better chance of coming out victorious in this round. And will not let that happen, though. Sprays down Welshie pretty handily, going down to 59 HP, then throws a flashbang into the B site. Big Frame still not showing their hand here. So Collateral is taking their time moving into the A site, but now they realize what's going on. Having charged on in there, Dutch Bag going to get the bomb plant. And Big Frames waiting at B for perhaps some exit frags. Given the economy situation here for Collateral, and that they're down 15-7, so it's going to be match point in every single round for Big Frames. You really want to hang on to these guns. Don't even take a chance. Let Big Frames do their thing over in B, and wait outside of it for perhaps one of them to get impatient. Sergeant Hash and Dutch Bag may be hungry for some frags, though. Good HE thrown in there. 41 damage done over to Dev. Dutch Bag waiting patiently, and yep, Collateral makes the perfect play, not committing anyone in towards that B site. I think Sergeant Hash is thinking about it. He does go for one and gets the headshot as a result, but a little risky. Still, it paid off for him, forcing one more member down for Big Frames. Anyway, Collateral get their 8th round victory, 15-8. And they're now on a 4-round run, looking to make it 5, and having to make it 5 to stay in this one. Big Frames going to go for the half buy. That's going to mean a UMP 45, 2 scouts, a deagle, and a P250 in the chat. Collateral Tyler says 1 round at a time. Indeed. As Nerfed goes down to 15 HP trying to guard that B site. Lucky to be alive as he got wall banged from the op of Delta 9. Delta 9 locked in, waiting for another peek to come in. And it's a good one here by Nerfed, who clips Delta 9 down to 54 HP with the scout and then goes back into hiding. He is supported by Welshie as well, so a double scout setup, looking in towards the tunnels. Nerf misses the headshot, but connects on Hendy down to 29, and then clips him as he's trying to escape. Hendy is down 5v4 in favor of Big Frames, and that's a gun on the ground here for Nerfed. No one guarding it for Collateral, so he's going to get the free AK upgrade. Delta 9 does get the response over on Welshie, 4v4. But Collateral still don't have any presence on either bomb site, and time is ticking away. Sergeant Hash creeping up towards Cat. Does have Loner to deal with. Over at CT, Dutch Bag sprays down Church. Loner trying to come up and spot ahead, and he does! Jax goes down Sergeant Hash with the quick response, but an AK has been picked up as mentioned by Nerfed. 15 HP for him. Is he just going to opt to save that, or is he going to come in on the full-on flank towards long? Dutch Bag expecting some activity over there. And the bomb gets planted at A. Dev trying to come out, spotted out by Sergeant Hash, and Sergeant Hash on the move gets the headshot from the AK. 2K for him on the round, leaving only Nerfed, and in a 3v1 with no armor, a flashbang, and an AK, along with 15 HP, I think Nerfed should hang behind this yellow car and stay here for the remainder of the round. Dutch Bag is trying to hunt him down, knowing he has the AK in hand, peeking around all the corners. Still has a flashbang to work with, throws it over the wall. Looking at car, perhaps suspects Nerfed is there, does get the shot on him. Dutch Bag with 2, Sergeant Hash with 2, and no AK saved into the round by Big Frames. Not really going to be too much of a fuss for them, though, since they have plenty of economy to buy up here in this round. But 15-9, the lead has been cut down to 6, and Collateral making a push for overtime. Sergeant Hash through the doors, does not connect on a shot. So still at 5v5. Round number 10 of the second half and round number 25 overall. Collateral have played 27 plus rounds for 7 matches in a row. And I guess they didn't want that streak to end here. Gonna have to win a couple more, though, to get to that point. Actually, make it 3 more. Four AUGs and an op for big frames. Over on Collateral, it's 4 AKs and the op. And they have 3 members set up over towards the B site. A standard 2-1-2 setup here for big frames. 1 in pit, 1 at car over on the A site. And then you have Dev waiting boosted up on the boxes here in CT spawn, along with the 2 set up for big frames at B. Welshie staring down towards double doors and Nerfed at tunnels. Good smoke thrown by Nerfed. But he pulls out the molly at the wrong time. Dutchbag drops him, but look at Welshie and Dev go. They drop a 3K combined. Delta 9's going to have to make it work here against the remaining 3 members of Big Frames. 2 of them in CT, only 1 on the B site. Actually, none on the B site. B site has been cleared out here by Collateral. Bomb goes down. Flashbang thrown in. Handy and Delta 9, 149 HP combined, up against 300 on Big Frames. And they have Dev standing still. Handy peeks around from window, but Dev suppresses him back into the B site. All 3 of them thinking about going in from the door and window. Flashbang thrown over by Collateral to delay the push by Big Frames and a molly. So double doors has been sealed off with no smokes left to defuse that for Big Frames. They do charge out. Flashbang thrown. Dev gets Handy, leaving only Delta 9 standing. Time is ticking away for the defusal. There won't be time for the defusal. No kits. And Big Frames might lose another member here if they can't get away in time. They don't. Still all 3 standing, but Collateral somehow, despite the force and the pressure put on by Big Frames in the round, get a 10th round victory, 15-10. We've gone from 15-4 to 15-10 for Collateral, 6 rounds in a row. They did have a disconnect in the round there. And who did they lose? It was Handy. So Handy needs to reconnect in the match, but man, they are hanging on tooth and nail in this match. 26th round of play coming up. And Handy's back. Wasn't gone for too long, and the match pause will likely end. Will be a full-on buy here once more for Collateral, but they'll face the same on Big Frames, who are back here with 3 AUGs and AK picked up off the ground in the previous round, and Loner will have the op, which he'll pick up, I believe, as he's running here. There he goes. 2 smokes thrown there for mid, so perhaps a little bit of a miscommunication on Big Frames' end. Well, she throws the molly, sees a lot of movement coming up from long doors as well, but a flashbang thrown by Collateral gives him more time to maneuver, and Hendy's going to use that for a 2K against Welshie and Church. Dutchbag firing away on Dev, trying to prevent him from escaping, and he will! Dutchbag gets the headshot on Dev, 5v4. No one down here for Collateral just yet. Nerfed and Loner all the way on the B side, and Big Frames are reeling here. Look at the money. Only 700 for Nerf and 50 for Loner. Dev, Church, and Welshie don't have anything more than 2K in the hands of Church. So the money not looking good. The loss bonus, though, is at 3,400, so they'll likely be able to buy up should they choose to do so in the following round. But the economy, or excuse me, the utility will not be strong for them. Sergeant Hash gets the flashbang thrown into CT, and Collateral are trying to hunt down these frags, as they should. I mean, they have the money mostly to buy up in the next round regardless, with I think about 3,300 coming into their bank accounts with the round victory here. But getting these guns out of the hands of Nerfed and Loner could tilt the scales in their favor. Looks like they're going to play it a little more cautiously than I expected, and 2 members are just heading to clear out B and mid. So Collateral, though, have to be happy with the execution over at Long A, getting an 11th round victory and not losing a single member, which means even more economy built up for them here. I'm not even sure why I'm talking about their economy, because if they lose a round, it's over. So, yeah, the economy way more important for Big Frames at this point. 4 AUGs, the op coming in for Big Frames, so they do use that loss bonus to their advantage. But Delta 9 off the bat gets nerfed down to the ground, 5v4, and that is the risk of crossing over around mid on Dust 2. Wow, look at the ops exchanging frags here. Loner gets Sergeant Hash, Delta 9 gets a second for himself, and the man advantage retained, largely in part thanks, or pretty much in thanks, to Delta 9. Dev responds over on Handy, though, 3v3. An intense 27th round of play. There's that molly again from Long, and Church takes a bit of damage from it, going down to 81. Everyone in the chat seems to be hyped, ready for this one. Collateral taking a chance, pushing their way up the ramp towards the A site. Dev thinking about peeking, but hasn't yet thanks to all that utility that Collateral is throwing. There's a flashbang and a smoke. Dev looks right into the eyes of that smoke, so he's fully flashed. Couple of flashes coming in for Big Frames. Not the ones they wanted to throw there, especially for Dev. Delta 9 drops Church. Dutchbag gets Welshie, and Delta 9 with the quad on the round. Dev is last victim. Collateral 12. Big Frames 15. All the momentum in Collateral's favor. The economy for Big Frames will not let them force up again here. They could try it, but man, I'm not sure if that's the right decision. This one is going down to the wire. Round number 28. Match pause called, most likely by Big Frames, to try and talk things over. They had a 15-4 lead. 11 chances at getting the victory here. Actually, it was 15-5, excuse me. 10 chances at getting the victory here. But Collateral have struck back, getting all those rounds in a row to make it 15-12. So the match pause has now ended. And here we go. Critical round of play. Big Frames going for the half buy though. Delta 9 sitting at 19 frags at the top here, tied with Jax with 19 as well. But Delta 9's really been the story with his option on Dust 2. Welshie charges up mid with authority and gets Jax down to the ground. Bomb dropped as well, and Welshie uses that chance to get into suicide. So he has an op as well. And this could be a big threat for Collateral, but they're still making it work with their frags up front on the front lines. 4v3 for them. And they have 4 members taking control. Make that 3 members taking control over on the A site. Dutchbag waiting in the upper B tunnels. 1 minute on the clock. I'm going to get planted here. And Dutchbag is trying to catch some Big Frames members off guard. Well, she doesn't want to lose this op, and for good reason. Waiting over in T-spawn, now jumping down into suicide. Loner, checking out what's happening over at lower tunnels. Not really any indication that Big Frames are going to try and charge in here and go towards the A site, as Dev takes cover over around mid. Welshie gets the op frag over on Hendy though. Dev drops Dutchbag, and maybe another one coming in. No, Sergeant Hash gets Dev, leaving only Welshie and Loner standing. Make it only Welshie. Sergeant Hash getting some good frags over on the Big Frames members, trying to save whatever they had in that round, but they only come out of it with an op. I shouldn't say only, since I don't think they could have bought up an op without having to favor a glass cannon or only body armor. But that doesn't really matter, of course, against those AKs. Anyway, 15-13 in favor of Big Frames. 2 rounds remaining, and Collateral trying to tie this one up and push it into overtime. 4 AKs and the op spread out across the map, looking for that opening frag, which will trigger them to go to either one of these sites. Which one will it be? Will it be Long A, where they'll be very exposed against Loner's op? Have to use some good flashbangs to prevent him from getting a quick 1-2 punch. Or will they favor going in mid to B? Needing to throw some perfect smokes out towards CT in order to guise their advance from, again, the op of Loner. Perhaps upper tunnels will be the destination, where Nerfed is waiting patiently with his AUG. Handy peeking around, flashbang thrown, and Handy goes back. In fact, that flashbang perhaps prevented Nerfed from getting the opening frag in the round. 1 minute left. Nerf does indeed still find it. Handy is down 5v4. This could be it. Big Frames. Loner now waiting with the op. Staring down towards Long. Full utility by Collateral, and they have to use it. Loner's actually going to back off, and there's that molly thrown in from Long to Cat once more. A staple to a T execute on A site. Loner has rotated back in towards Long, but Collateral are closing the gap on him. Misses the flick on Sergeant Hash, and that's going to be his doom. Dutchbag gets the frag. Sergeant Hash drops Dev. Welshie responds for 1. 3v3. Collateral up against it, but the bomb's going to get planted. Sergeant Hash throwing the smoke onto the site, and then an HE down Cat. Welshie hiding out. Over in CT, Big Frames trying to retake this site. They have a molly and 2 flashbangs to do it. Sergeant Hash with a good pop flash thrown towards CT. Now Welshie coming up. Molly thrown, giving away his position. Sergeant Hash drops down, fires away at two shots, but does not connect. Sergeant Hash waiting. Fully flash now, and Welshie's going to drop him. Great flashbang thrown by Church. Delta 9 waiting at long. Perhaps Big Frames thinking about sticking the defusal. They know where Delta 9 is. They are going to stick it. Can they do it here? Nerfed doesn't get it. Dutch bag at the very last second of the defusal. Gets Nerfed down to the ground. 3K for Dutch bag, and Collateral have come back here. 15-5 to 15-14. 30th round of play, and they're looking for OT. The economy is not too great for Big Frames either. They're probably going to have to favor maybe some members buying only M4s and not the body armor at all for Nerfed or Dev, but I think the SMGs might be the better play here. Loner is going to get the op in hand. AUG for Welshie, FAMAS for Dev, M4A1S for Nerfed, and Church, we'll see what he goes with here. Still not a bad buy, but Collateral have enough to get the auto in hand. Maybe a couple of autos to spray down mid, as Big Frames did at the end of that first half. We're at the end of the second half. We're down to the wire regardless of what happens for the second consecutive map. On Collateral's end, and Hendy gets the opening frag through the wall in a second! Nerfed is down. Collateral at 2-man advantage, only 5 seconds into the round. Jax is already trying to move his way into the B site. Welshie waiting there with the AUG, but man, a little bit of luck going a long way with those auto sniper rifles, I should say. Church waiting behind the smoke here over at Long A, but Collateral spreading out Big Frames now. No one in position to get a trade for them. Church hanging out right behind the double doors over at Long A. Hendy looking to hunt him down and push his team into overtime. Doesn't have any support. And, oh, wow. What a heads-up play for him. In fact, expecting someone to be behind the doors. Hendy gets his third on the round. Church is down to the ground. Dev and Welshie, the last two standing. Dev on A. Welshie on B. And Welshie won't get anything done. Sergeant Hash drops him. 5v1, it's all up to Dev, who will get a frag for his squad over on Jax, but a quick response by Sergeant Hash, who gets him. Collateral have pushed this one into overtime. 10 round victories in a row. You didn't think it could be done, but Collateral showed exactly why you can never count any team out in Counter-Strike, and also why Counter-Strike is the most exciting esport to watch, hands down. 31st round of play is coming up shortly here, guys. I do hope you're enjoying the match cast so far. If you are, I would appreciate a follow at JRTTV with 2 E's at the end on my Twitter. That's in the top left-hand corner of your screen. And, of course, on my Twitch, JRTTV, without the 2 E's at the end. My goodness. Wow. What a way to push it to OT as well with those 2 wall bangs from the auto. Handy. Doing the work. Acid Rain was told to be quiet by the wife, because he's hyped, as he should be. Big Frames have to be disappointed, though. So many opportunities to close this one out. But Collateral forcing their hand every single round. And doing a great job on their T side, matching the 11-4 scoreline that Big Frames put up on their T side. Rocket League is the most exciting esport to watch, says Bahula. No, sir. How could you? Leave the chat. No, I'm just kidding. Rocket League is fun too. No doubt about it. But Welshie is trying to warm up here to get it going in the overtime. Still not started yet between these two squads. Collateral fighting to retain their 10-game win streak, or fighting to retain their win streak and make it 11. Big Frames want to secure that playoff spot. I think they're going to do it regardless of what happens here in this match, but still I'm pretty sure they wanted to have some of the pressure alleviated right here in their 11th match of the season. So, Hashtag collateral damage flooding the chat. One thing that's pretty impressive on Collateral's end in terms of stats is their career ADRs. I've never really seen a team with such impressive career ADRs. You have Delta 9 at 87, Dutchbag at 85, Hendy at 86.5, Jax at 88.8, Sergeant Hash at 90, and Witcher at 83.5. So everyone is so good at doing damage, and when you have a squad like that put together, well, the result is what you just saw. I mean, a comeback that a lot of teams would have not been able to pull off, but Collateral, who have been playing lights out Counter-Strike all season long, showing that that was no fluke. Here we go. 31st round of action. 16K start money for both squads, so the money is out of the equation. It's down to which team can outdo the other in full-on 5v5's Counter-Strike. 6 rounds maximum in the overtime. First team to win 4 is victorious. Jax coming out here with Sergeant Hash. Good molly thrown by Big Frames to hold off the advance here. 4 members charging up for Big Frames. And an op shot through the door connects on Delta 9, but does not take him out of the equation. Delta 9 still has enough health to do the damage here with that op. I mean, anything in terms of health for an opper is good enough. Just need one shot to make the difference. Nerfed. Gets the HE thrown up towards Cat. Sergeant Hash down to 59. So all the damage being done towards Collateral here with Hash down to 59 and Delta 9 at 8. Nerfed. Waiting on the ramp here. Throws a flashbang. And now the molly comes in to force him off ramp. But he makes it work. Gets Sergeant Hash. Dev drops Hendy. But Jack still standing over at L. Gets nerfed with the headshot. Dev and Loner waiting in CT as the bomb goes down here. 3v4 post-plant. HP advantage largely in part in Big Frames' favor. 366 up against 136. Loner getting sprayed down there to 91. Delta 9 waiting with the op around the corner. Loner spots him out, shoots a little bit too early, but the HE's going to finish Delta 9 off. Then Welshie headshots Jax, leaving only Dutchbag standing over at Cat. Throws a molly onto the bomb, buying himself a little bit more time. Perhaps he can get some frags. He gets Welshie, but Loner gets him down to the ground. Dutchbag burns big with the molly. They will still have enough time to get the defusal, though, with that defuse kit. But no defuse kit would have meant the end of them, of course, in overtime. I'd be very surprised to see anyone without that kit. Anyway, 16-15 for Big Frames. That's their first round victory in 10 rounds. Finally ending that win streak for Collateral. 32nd round of play. Same buy-up once more, and likely the one we'll see for the remainder of every single half and round here in overtime. Church. Waiting with the AUG from Pit. Four members from Collateral coming up here. Every single player on both sides in this season have a positive kill to death differential. Plus 20 is the lowest one on Collateral. That's in Jax's hands. And over on Big Frames, it's plus 5 for Welshie. Church. Flashbanged here twice. One from his own team, actually. So Church has to back off in towards Pit. He gets one on Jax. Could get done out here by Hendy, and he does. 4v3. Dev, Welshie, and Nerf still standing for Big Frames, but Collateral again trying to get it going here on their T side. The staple molly for Cat comes in, but no one standing in it this time for Big Frames. Dev waiting to boost Welshie onto the A site potentially. Good smokes thrown by Collateral. No gap there, and it's actually going to be Dev who gets boosted by Welshie. Welshie throws the flashbang. Dev drops one, looking for a second here, and he goes back down in towards boost spot. Nerf sprayed down to 17. Dev boosted up, and Delta 9 spots him out. Headshot for him. Dutchbag sprays down Welshie and Hendy just like that. 1, 2, 3. Nerfed is down. Collateral tied up once more. 16-16. 3 AUGs. Make that 4 AUGs in the op once more. And Collateral trying to make it work with those autos again. Sergeant Hash waiting. Nerf gets clipped down to 13, and then another member of Big Frames takes a chance and does indeed make his way towards B without taking any damage. So no luck for Collateral this time with the autos in the third and final round of play in the first half of OT. HE flies in, gets Sergeant Hash down to 85. And bomb drop by Dutch Bag in the corner there on the T side of long doors. Sergeant Hash throwing that molly in towards double doors and now lining up a smoke here. Thinking better of it perhaps, or maybe someone else is going to cover that smoke. Collateral looking to at least make some noise over at the A site. Will they commit to a long A hit is another question. So they're trying to drag Big Frames over to long A, and it works. Loner has already pulled himself towards there, but he quickly realizes what's going on as more utility is flying up from Collateral over towards mid. Smokes thrown in towards CT, fully smoked off, so no angle for Loner to hold. He does jump up on the boxes, trying to spot out someone, but it's not going to happen. Delta 9 gets nerfed, Hendy gets Welshie, 4v3, man advantage for Big Frames. Excuse me, man advantage for Collateral. Dutch Bag planting the bomb over at default. And everyone is set up here. Hendy got a good crossfire going with Dutch Bag for double doors. And the mollies are flying out here for Collateral. One for doors and one for window. Big Frames really want to peek out. They're going for this retake, of course, since the last round of this half. Smoke gonna fly in. Flashbang as well. Dev gets the frag on Dutch Bag, even out at a 3v3, but Sergeant Hash responds. Loner and Church doing work, and Loner gets the 2K! Going in towards that B site. Great work for him, and Big Frames do indeed come out of the first half of action in OT with a 17-16 lead. Let's check that out one more time. Hopefully we caught those frags by Loner. And indeed, trying to come in there. Dropping that first one from window, then coming around the corner to get the car player, and that is the proverbial that. So, 17-16 in favor of Big Frames. Collateral, if they win out here on their CT side, they will be victorious, 19-17. But Big Frames only need 2. Collateral not going for the 4-AUG setup, 3 AUGs and an M4 along with the op for them. But Big Frames with the 4 AKs and the op. Still haven't really seen the SG553 make a dent in the meta here, likely due to its recoil pattern. But it's not a bad weapon after those first 6 shots. Or I'd say for the first 6 shots. Welshie getting ready for the hit here. 4 Big Frames members stacked up over at Cat. They will have the car player Delta 9 to deal with, but with those smokes thrown, Delta 9 won't be able to see them advance until he gets the edge of that smoke. Until they get to the edge of that smoke. Anyway, Sergeant Hash is going to get nerfed, and now Big Frames are thinking about backing off, but instead they're going right on in. Delta 9 drops Church, then gets Welshie, looking for the third, and Delta 9 with the 3K, maybe a quad, but no. Dev gets Delta 9, and Loner gets the molly frag from the grave over on Sergeant Hash, but it does not make a difference. Hendy dropping Dev, and Delta 9 again getting it going with that AWP, securing a 17th round victory for Collateral, heading into the second round of the second half of the first OT. Collateral trying to seal off the comeback, and Big Frames trying to salvage the win. Dev waiting, good positioning, got there so quickly that Delta 9 did not expect him to already be at the double doors. Getting a little tongue-tied here, but Jax and Dutch Bag are looking to go aggressively in towards the upper tunnels. Loner is hoping exactly this will happen, but misses a shot on Jax. Good movement for Jax around the op shot. Nerfed, waiting in lower tunnels, drops Dutch Bag. Now Jax gets a response. Maybe a second one. Yes, Jax with a 2K, but Dev and Welshie respond for 2 of their own. I think Sergeant Hash got a little too antsy over at long doors. I don't think Dev expected Hendy to come out there so aggressively after Dev dropped one, but Hendy did. Now makes it a 1v2, and he's going to go for this one. Smoke thrown there. Doesn't do anything to Hendy. Who's going to get a molly thrown into window. Burns down to 68. And that molly thrown out of window by Welshie. Now another one from window, perhaps. Now Church hoping he threw it at double doors, but it doesn't matter anyway. Welshie sprays Hendy down. 18-17 for Big Frames. Final round of play in this first overtime. Will Big Frames end it here with a 19th round victory, or can Collateral hang on for one more overtime? Church coming out here with Nerfed. Making a lot of noise in towards the upper tunnels. Delta 9 got clipped down to 24 HP, trying to go for a fight at mid with one of those ops. Dev and Loner running a double op setup on T side. I think Dust 2 is probably the only map you'll see that happen on. Maybe Cobblestone back in the day too. That side of the regular rotation, of course. HE flying in there for Big Frames. Church throwing the pop flash for CT and then charging forward. Oh, Sergeant Hash does manage to make his way out of CT and get the 2K. The timing in his favor. Now it's down to 3 members for Big Frames, but Devin Welshie clearing out the B site entirely. 3v3, they absolutely needed to do that, and they answered the call. Dev spamming through the double doors. Welshie going for this bomb plant. Tense final moments perhaps of the match here for Collateral. Sergeant Hash gets naded down to 8 HP. Only 134 HP remaining for Collateral versus 300 on Big Frame's end. And Welshie's holding a great angle here towards window, but turns away at the wrong time, giving Collateral a chance to perhaps sneak into this bomb site. Sergeant Hash spots out Loner, but Dev gets Hendy. Welshie gets Sergeant Hash, and Dev gets the last one in the round. 19-17, the final score for Big Frames, who do hang on to get the victory in this match, but certainly an exciting finish thanks to that insane win streak by Collateral. GG's, but man, if we see a rematch between these two squads in the playoffs, it will certainly be a banger. Collateral, with the loss, fall to 10-3. I think they're still in the top 5, but I think probably dropping to number 4 where Big Frames was previously, as Big Frames going to take that number 2 spot from Collateral, going to 10-1 in the season, and they have clinched a playoff spot here in Season 31 of Advanced. GG's all around. Thank you for the kind words, aka DASP. Appreciate that, man. If any of you other guys enjoyed the cast, would appreciate a follow at JRTTV with 2 E's at the end on my Twitter, and of course, just JRTTV on my Twitch. Thank you, DASP, for the follow on my Twitter. Appreciate that, man. So, any last words from the chat, guys? Thank you, Acid Rain. Appreciate it. All right. So I'm going to get to clipping those top 5 plays of the match. They will be on my Twitter in about probably an hour to an hour and a half's time. We do have the OT to account for, and I have to go through every single minute of the match, which takes time, but still it's worth it to get those top 5 plays out. Thank you, Tyler, for the kind words, man. That was certainly a very impressive match on both sides. All right, guys, so that is going to be it for me. 19-17, the final score in favor of Big Frames in overtime. Collateral falling to 10-3, and Big Frames jumping to 10-1. 2 teams who are playoff bound and might face each other at the end of the day once playoffs get to those finals in advance. Anyway, guys, I am JRT signing off for the night. Thank you so much for coming out. Take care of yourselves and have a good one. Peace.